Hello, my fellow goddesses. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. And hello to my beautiful beings, my sisters, and everyone else, whatever you are, wherever you are. Hello, welcome. If you are new here, warm welcome. If you are old here, thank you for continuing to return to listen to me talk. Fun fact about me, I'm a Gemini, I'm a Leo rising. If you know, you know. Astrology, all this stuff, nothing's my Bible, but it's something that is fun and it makes sense and it just adds to the magic of life. And it's just interesting to see how it all ties together. But I am here today to talk to you guys about humility. Humility. And I know that might seem like something, like I'm always telling people to focus on what they can control and to be proactive and to have a growth mindset. And it may seem like it comes off very controlling, very like not humble, to love yourself and to take inspired action, to focus on what you can control. But I'm going to tell you guys right now that taking up space, getting after your goals, being a healthy person, being in your higher self and evolving does require a lot of humility and surrender. Let me grab my book. Without this is kind of a secret sauce to confidence, extroversion, taking up space. I may seem like someone who's really confident and takes up a lot of space online or when I'm in one of my camera or stage settings, whatever, but in reality, like I prioritize and value humility a lot. So I'm gonna tell you really about giving up control, surrendering, and being humble. And I think for me, it's just about having the awareness to look at what am I in control of and what am I not, and being graceful about what I'm not in control of and accepting that. For me to be like a confident beast in life, it's literally because I look at the things I can control and then I see the things I can't. And I reason with myself. If I look at this and I'm like, this is painful, but this has nothing to do with me. And I can't control this. This is something I'm just going to have to give up to God, to the universe, to Source, Creator, whatever you are here embodying and working on. This is a judgment-free zone and I respect everyone. So this here is what we cannot control. I'm not going to let it take away my empowerment for what I can control over here. This is my life. This is what I can control. This is the things that I have to take action on. Like, okay, waking up and eating, going to work, like loving the people around me, controlling my heart and my feelings, showing up in ways that are loving to myself, proactive things that build my life and add love, add light, add energy to my life. Exercising, cooking, cleaning. There could be specific actions that have to do with your own life and your own goals. These are just a few examples, like, you know what I'm saying? Or like I can choose how I respond to something that someone else is doing or saying, even though I cannot control them. I can still be proud of myself and honor the authentic way I'm supposed to respond. So humility really comes from like surrendering to what is not in your control. Also being humble about the things that you do have control over and not really like tightening your grip on those things, you know what I'm saying? It's to me it's also a way that you carry yourself. You're allowed to take up space and be confident and be big, but still have a humble energy of like, I'm big and I take up space and I am confident and I am beautiful and I am successful, but I am not better than the next person. I think it's just understanding that we are all equal. We are all human beings and we all deserve equal respect, equal love, regardless of what is going on and like where people come from or what they look like. It's really just about having compassion and being humble around other people, regardless of the work you've done, the pride you have. It keeps all of that in balance. And this is just me giving a personal, authentic description. I know it might not seem like straight from the book, but I'm here to just kind of I think when I hear people personally explain something, it sometimes does more for me than actually just reading a definition and hearing the by the book version. So pretty much what I wrote down is, it's not about being small. I've had a lot of people tell me to have some humility and to be humble, and they meant to shrink myself and put myself under them, to disempower myself, to condense my energy, to weaken myself, to put them on a pedestal. I've had people do that to me, and that's the opposite of humility. But actually, the people who tell you that probably are the ones that need humility the most, because if they want you to shrink yourself, to be less than what you are, most likely they do have a problem with their self-esteem and they themselves feel small, and you're making them feel small by just taking up space. That is a very real thing that I see a lot with people, and I have personally experienced. Me taking up space does not mean anyone else is small. I'm just honoring who I am and allowing myself to fully be in my own essence. And that can make people feel really bad sometimes, just because they restrict themselves so much that what you're doing kind of hurts them, because they see what they could do or they could be or what they're not right now, but we don't see that in them. Us that take up space and that have a lot of love, a lot of compassion, the true confidence, we take up space. We aren't doing that with the purpose. If you truly have humility, you're not doing that with the purpose to make anyone feel less, to compare yourself to anyone, make people feel small, to boost your ego. You're not doing that for that. It's truly just because that is who you are in your heart, and that's what you want to authentically do to take up space. So, pretty much, it's not about shrinking yourself. It's not about being small. It's just about having this understanding and truly being in sync with it in your mind. Believe it or not, you may think something, if you are bitter on the inside in your mind and you are thinking poorly of other people in your mind, people feel that on a subconscious level. If they're really evolved, they will feel it on a conscious level. Have you ever been around someone and you can just feel such negativity coming off of them? It's because of what's going on in their energy and their mind. Sometimes it is us and we have some work to do, but sometimes it's because of what they're allowing to take up a lot of space in their energy field, okay? And part of really being in the spirit and embodying humility is truly actually doing it within when no one's looking and no one's seeing it. Because I'm telling you, the results will exude off of your aura and people will feel that about you. If you feel you're superior to someone, it will come off to other people, and they will be able to notice sooner or later. Have you ever met someone and you're seeing them with your physical eyes, but over time, you might know this person for a few months, a year, a couple years, but over time you start to really feel like there's always been something off, but I can't tell because I don't see any physical proof. But it's almost like this like grandiosity or inferior complex, like it could be either or, that makes you kind of feel like a little uncomfortable around them. But maybe they do come off very kind, sweet, nice, but like there's something off and you're like, okay, I will respond to what I'm seeing. Because part of like something I've talked about is we don't like to make assumptions. That's pretty much about the book that I read, the 4 agreements. They say don't assume. So I don't like to assume things about people, but I've also had to take that back to a place where I developed my own trust with myself enough to know what I'm feeling and seeing and being able to identify it for my own well-being. Sometimes we will feel that. So that's why inner work is so important, because it's not about looking the part. A lot of people will act like they do inner work and they will just try to look the part, right? But sooner or later, that inauthenticity will come out in some way, shape, or form. It always does. It's just the way that the universe works. So if you're someone who really wants to work on this, it's about acceptance, it's about honesty, but also working on truly getting to a place of that within yourself. And also being graceful, because we're not perfect. There's always new layers to learning how to embody and change your mindset in certain ways. So like you may be working on humility, but you may be a really humble person that embodies humility. but then you're out and something happens out of your comfort zone that requires you to use that, to exercise it. And it might be a little beyond the capacity that you're used to exercising it. So there's also a level of grace that comes with this that we should keep in mind and be mindful with ourselves and other people. Everything I tell you guys on this channel, everything I tell you, beautiful people on this channel, is truly for you to take and apply in your own life. It is for you, okay? It's for your personal journey. And if you want to include other people in these videos, send them to them. And you're making this like a group effort between friends. You're making this like a group effort between friends. You like to do inner work and like keep each other accountable. That's totally fine. But this is not for you to go tell other people how they should be living. I mean, you could lead by example, but I found that, yeah, the best way to really enforce this in people around you is to lead by example. And if you're really close with someone that you do keep accountable, being able to first be able to walk the walk and then maybe help them evolve and mirror back to them where they could put some work in kindly. You can be strong and confident and still know that you are not perfect and make mistakes. And that doesn't mean to take on the burdens and apologies that are not yours. That is also something that I have been projected on, that I want to let you guys know. If you've ever been projected on, like, oh, have some humility when you're in a situation where someone's trying to gaslight you and get you to take responsibility for something that is not your fault and not your problem. It's really important to work on this and embody this and know where you're responsible for taking in this humility. A lot of people have a hard time because it hurts their ego, but I'm just telling you, this actually will help your ego and help you as a whole, because when you know where to apply certain things and you actually know how to behave and you have patience, you have humility, you can take responsibility, you actually are able to see when it's not your time to do that. When someone else is projecting something onto you and it's not yours, and you're able to confidently be like, no, thank you, that is not mine. I do not accept that. And you kind of gracefully put it away, because some people will try to get you to be confused and be have this humility in circumstances that are not appropriate, and also kind of harmful to yourself, because there are times where other people need to be responsible for their actions, their words, circumstances, and they need to have some humility in the situation for it to be healthy to you. But if you're someone who's always doing that, some people will try to get you to continue that even when it's their turn to take up space in that way. So it's really important to be able to organize this stuff within yourself and know and have a certain level of inner confidence when it comes to being humble, embodying different values and things that really help you be a good person, but also provide the healthiest energy and personal exchanges when it's necessary. One of the things I also wrote down was loving the benefits of materials in the 3D, but not neglecting principles because of them. So oftentimes you'll see a lot of people's negative and limiting beliefs around money and success oftentimes come from witnessing people become obsessed with materials and status and money, and they stop living by their principles and values that people originally really respected them for, or maybe part of the reason they even got those things. So it's really important to get clear on who you are, your principles and your values, and try to live from that authentic place and those core values. And anytime you do have an external factor change in your life, good or bad, in this situation we're talking about good, you get some more materials, you get some more money, it's okay to love those things, be proud of those things, to want nice things. There's nothing wrong with that. It's more like when you become so obsessed with those things that you forget who you are and you're not still prioritizing who you really are at your core, your heart, and your principles, your values, and living from a place of integrity. That's when those things become negative, is when you neglect your principles due to an outside factor. And that could be clothes, shoes, shopping, money, experiences, a certain status you have. Those things are amazing. Who does not want certain nice things? We all have things that we got our eyes on, But if it starts to make you change who you are in your heart, and I feel like this is where this comes from. I feel like humility is connected to our heart. And because when we're in our heart, nothing really matters but love and compassion and truth and just like the intimacy and the connecting and like the core principles of things. So I feel like when you lose your heart due to outside things and you lose your character, that is when it kind of becomes ugly. So it's really good to practice and just keep yourself practicing these different things. Being aware of your own imperfections and places that you still have to evolve speaks very loudly for humility. Knowing where you still have to grow and being graceful about it and accepting that and being willing to have awareness, reflect, and put in the work where you are not perfect, even if it's something you're not aware of. There's been a lot of conflict I feel I experienced in life where even when people were aware of their own flaws and imperfections, there were things that maybe they didn't notice before that were brought to their attention, and they were so set on that possibly not being real because they can't see it. And I think this is something we all could work on, because there's times where I'm like, I really don't think that's a big deal. Like, that's not something I feel is even a flaw to me. So that's where there could be a gap with this. But that's really just like how developing emotional intelligence works, is understanding that sometimes our humility, where we feel our flaws are, other people might see other flaws, and it's okay to have compassion and, you know, respond in a loving place from an emotional intelligent place of wanting to, you know, comfort and really fix that problem with that person and get to the bottom of like what needs to be done about it. And it doesn't even have to mean you change your beliefs, but it's more about just accepting responsibility, even if it's something that's not really normal for you to experience or accept responsibility in. And then also just like knowing you're imperfect and not running around like you're perfect is something that people respect a lot. It's like when you're able to like really just sit there and be like, yeah, you know what? I know a lot. I'm really smart, but I'm not perfect. There's still so much I have to learn. I'm in the grand scheme of things, I don't really know anything, you know? And that's something that I've always like seen and lived by. And that's why I continue to learn and grow, is because no matter how much I learn, I'm like, the more I learn, actually, the more that I see how much I don't know. So it's like really crazy how that works. Or like, no matter how pretty you are, how much value you put in your beauty or your looks, you still know that you're not perfect. And it's okay that you have a little cellulite, that your belly has rolls, that you might have some acne now and again, that you wake up looking crazy sometimes, but like you still value being beautiful. But it doesn't take away from the fact that you can acknowledge with yourself, like, yeah, I'm not always beautiful. Because when you have that accepting flexibility with yourself, it takes the pressure and the rigidness off of when you're not perfect. And because sometimes when we're not perfect and we don't have that humility, it actually hurts us, because when we're not hitting the bar of being perfect, it could really ruin some like valuable moments and just times where like we might not feel our best. But since we didn't give ourselves that grace, that humility in our own world, we will start to feel really uncomfortable and make situations uncomfortable because we're sitting with ourselves in a way that we haven't accepted yet. And this can happen at really unexpected, inconvenient times. Trust me, I've had times where I was like, I never accepted myself in a certain light, and then I'm like in public or something happens and I'm like, fuck. I'm like sitting there like, oh man, like I'm so uncomfortable that I like kind of didn't maybe, not that I was like awful or atrocious, but maybe I didn't treat the people around me in a way that I was proud of, or I might have been a little snappy or mean towards people because I was not in a place of comfort with myself. So humility really does help bring comfort into your own life. It's really about responsibility, taking responsibility for what is yours and how you affect things and where you could have played a role in something. It's about empathy towards yourself and towards other people, really being in touch with your emotions and their emotions, and just knowing how to be respectful through that. Being able to be decisive even in tough situations is really important. Being like aggressively decisive and not only making excuses. Like when things need to happen, humility is being willing to be wrong. And I think sometimes people might think being really confident and making aggressive decisions is the opposite of humility, but sometimes I'm telling you, most of the time when I'm indecisive, it's because I haven't accepted something yet. And I don't have that humility. Like when I knew I had to leave a really abusive, bad situation, I was coming from a place where like, I wasn't willing, I wanted to be right about what I saw in the beginning of certain relationships, friendships, to where I wasn't allowing myself to fully accept and be graceful and empathetic towards myself and take full responsibility for where we're actually at. A lot of times indecision will come from a place of ego and not being able to be honest with yourself and then flexible and graceful. So that's why it's important to work on these things, because it really does matter in the grand scheme of our growth and what is necessary to overcome different obstacles. Accepting things, acceptance, I'll have a whole nother video about that, but acceptance is really key to a lot of growth, because even if it's something that's going to change, sometimes when we don't accept it, it's hard for us to actually learn the lessons and grow past it from a place of love and compassion and empathy for ourselves. So acceptance is also really powerful in humility. Being able to be patient with people, like not expecting every situation, every person, everything that goes on in life to be perfectly catered to you, and being able to be patient with everything around you. There's a long line, be like, okay, I have a lot of compassion to where like, I'm like, they could have had an awful day, or maybe they had the best day ever and they're just moving at their own pace. It doesn't really matter, because either way, it's happening and there was a reason for it happening, and those reasons are always human. So, and I'm human, I cannot be better than those reasons. So I'm gonna be patient, I'm gonna send them love and good energy, and I'm gonna sit here and pay my dues as another fellow human being and treat people how I like to be treated. And sometimes patience is not just about waiting, it's about how you wait. And I like to have good posture while I wait. So humility is also having good posture while you wait for things. And I'm gonna tell you guys right now, I like to do this disclaimer because like being someone who likes to coach and teach these things, yes, I take these things seriously, and I promise I do actually practice this in my everyday life, but I am not perfect. I teach these things, I coach these things, I like to make people think, and you don't have to get all of this down in one day. I don't even have all this perfect, okay? I feel like I am doing the best that I can with what I know so far, and I know that there's probably more areas I can apply all this stuff in. So me sitting here preaching all this stuff does not mean I'm perfect or I'm sitting here being a hypocrite, because it's easy to talk about this stuff. There's things that are, okay, talking about this is easy in a sense, but some of the divine wisdom that I have gotten through my experiences, not all of this is like definition by the book. A lot of this is just me having my lens, my experience, bringing it all together, forming a sense of rhetoric and just communicating it to you guys from my heart. And that's not always easy, and it's not always easy to put yourself out there, because then when people see you talk about something, they have high expectations for how you are and how you act. And I promise I do hold myself to a high standard of how I expect myself and how I want myself to behave and actually apply this stuff. But I also, having humility, know that I will never be perfect, and I probably will disappoint a lot of people, just like everyone does. Even though I know these things, it's a different thing to be able to hold that weight and apply it for a whole lifetime, okay? So be kind to yourself, have humility towards yourself, be humble towards yourself, and know that even when you learn things, it takes time to apply and actually experience. So be kind to yourself through this process. Willingness to learn and lift other people up. This is something that I've experienced a huge lack of in my life. Okay, so let's talk about learning from other people. I love learning from other people. I have loved since the moment that I joined kindergarten, anything. I love learning. I don't think I'm less if you have something to teach me. I will always allow you to teach me something. Like, if teach me something I don't know, I'll probably share what I know based on what you're telling me to, because I just like to exchange thoughts, and I'm very talkative and expressive, but I love to learn new things. I think how people present things is really important, because if you come to me in a condescending manner, I'm probably not gonna wanna learn from you. So that's pretty normal it's really about how someone's teaching you, and being taught can be like a vulnerable time. I've been in situations where someone was teaching me something and I didn't feel safe to learn from them. So I had a hard time actually taking in what they said, and I didn't feel like being the most respectful. So I'm not perfect. This is me having some humility, but I'm just saying, like, if someone's really mindful and they know what they're talking about, they want to teach me something, okay, I'm here to receive it. I'll be curious. I embody the curious, just humble. I don't know anything when I'm a student, okay? And, you know, there had been times when I was younger where I was in my rebellion phase and I tended to want to know everything, and I didn't want to hear anything from anyone because I knew everything I needed to know. There are times when someone does start to tell me something and I'm not necessarily trying to learn. And for me, if I'm not trying to learn something and I feel the information I'm being told is not really in alignment with where my life is and what I need to know, I have enough discernment to be like, okay, although I appreciate this lens and like this train of thought and this learning, I don't necessarily want to prioritize this right now. And I'll kind of like reason with myself and other people along that. It's like, I have friends that love to like, you know, we love to like kind of mind dump. We're like, okay, I learned this new thing and I want to tell you about it. And there's sometimes my friends tell me something and I'm like, that's great. I'm not going to say much in response to that because I just don't feel like that's super in alignment with my life right now, and I don't want to put a lot of energy into like learning about that because I have a lot on my plate that I'm already learning. So it's okay to pick and choose what you learn, but when you are in a place where someone is teaching you something and it is important you listen, it's important to be receptive. That's like a whole nother thing, is like when you're learning, be receptive, leave your ego out of it, tap into your childlike wonder, and allow life to happen. The thing that I was referring to earlier when I said I've experienced a huge lack of, I've always loved lifting other people up because for me, I think I can do anything. Like ever since I was a kid, I've always been very ballsy, like, okay, I want to do this, I want to do that, I want to explore. And somewhere along the lines, I think so much fear was put in me that I kind of got like a little scaredy cat. I ended up being a little scaredy cat for a long time, and I still have that little like shy scaredy cat part of myself. But I love empowering people, and I found I never hesitate to tell someone when I think something's cute, beautiful. If I think someone's special, I will literally stop what I'm doing to go talk to anyone. That has been a strength of mine, but I have found in society most people are not like that. A lot of people feel when they go and tell someone something, or if someone hears someone getting a compliment, it puts them in this feeling of lack, almost like they're not in a place to like honor where other people are shining, because it makes them feel less. And this is something that I really, really want to see in my lifetime improve with the general population. I've been around mostly people who do not like to allow people to shine when it's their time to shine, and they tend to want to make it about them. They don't like to honor people where it's due. And for me, that's just something that I love to create. Where I see things lacking, I like to take up space in, because if it's lacking, obviously we need more people to do that. So I love to show up in that way, but that's something I would really love people to learn about and find more of. I find you have energetic abundance and a better mindset, and you love yourself more when you're able to love other people openly and just communicate where you really respect and love and just like enjoy other people. Lifting other people up, once you start, it never gets old. It's just like, oh my God, like I want to tell you how great you are. And you know, there's a point where it kind of gets too far, like try not to like gas someone's whole reality up to the point where like you're just trying to like stroke their ego, and it can be something that can be used as a manipulative thing. So, you know, I like to use it in moderation, and just like if I see someone who's special or they're talented or they have like a lot going for them, I will not hesitate to tell them what I think of them, and whether they want it or not. And if they don't want it, I will gracefully accept and I'll just like back up. But part of having humility is being able to see other people's strengths and where they have something beautiful, and not think that it means that you don't have that or it takes away from you. It's really just about like allowing people to shine where they shine, and just acknowledgement. It's about acknowledgement And I find a lot of people are uncomfortable with acknowledging people and being acknowledged, because I think it was something we weren't taught. I feel like the way school was set up, and even like the way a lot of people parented, it was in this competitive nature. And at least where I grew up, and some of the ways that parents acted around me, I just saw a lot of times people acting in a super scarce competitive nature. And anytime anyone was doing good, it was always like judgment. I've seen a lot of bad examples of what not to do and how people really do act that aren't exactly cool, like that I wish was different. But that's why I am here and I'm talking, because I feel like if you want to create abundance in your life, if you want to have growth in your life, if you want to have humility and really own it, do not hesitate to tell other people where you love them. Don't be afraid to express your love. A lot of times people think humility is quiet and it's small. It's not. It's an energy. And you can still be a loud, expressive person and have humility and be humble. Part of having humility is actually being willing to express things from a place of honor. You know what I'm saying? So it's like someone's really beautiful, be like, wow, you're so beautiful. And it's not like you're taking yourself and being like, you're ugly. And I feel like that really is, I don't know where that came from, but it was something that I even like felt when I was younger. And I don't know where, like, cause these things aren't things, we're not born thinking like, oh, someone told that kid that they're pretty, it must mean I'm ugly. It was something we were taught. Something somewhere along the line, this competitiveness, this energy was taught, it was conditioned in us. And I just want to be here to be like, let's break that, please. Let's exercise this and let's start sending love to our neighbors, our friends, our family, like anyone that's like available in our life, that is healthy, that is a safe space for you. Sometimes we can't do this for everyone because there's people that are just strictly very unhealthy to be around. So I get it if you want to send love to someone and you can't. I'm just saying focus on people around you, strangers or not, and just focus on, if you have the opportunity, take the opportunity. It's never gonna not feel good to tell someone that they look good or that they are so cool, or you love the way that they carry themselves, the way they talk, their shoes, the way that they do a certain talent. It's never going to hurt anyone. If anything, it builds both of you up. It's like donating. Energetically, you build such good karma when you're able to give to other people freely. And I'm not saying that's why you should do it, but I'm just telling you guys the energetic and spiritual facts. When you give freely, and you're not like thinking like, oh, me saying this or doing this takes away from me, you truly tap into this abundant energy and you expand, and it's beautiful. You actually attract more of what you give. If you feel ugly, go tell like 10 people they're beautiful. If you feel broke in life, go donate to people that really need it more than you. If you feel unloved in life, go and tell people that you love them and express your love to them in your love language, their love language, whatever, and give it to them. Don't be, obviously give those things to yourself, because I am all about self-love here. Part of self-love is also knowing how to give it out to other people. Give other people the love that you want, give yourself the love you want, and just create this mirroring cycle of what you want to see for yourself, what you want to attract, and how you want to make other people feel. People always remember how you made them feel. Some people don't say anything to me. I'm really good at reading energy, but sometimes people really do throw me for a loop. I would have never thought they thought that way about me until they told me. Some people, you might think they already know they're beautiful. No, they probably don't, actually. And if they do, they probably don't hear it enough because other people think that. And like, never assume someone has enough, because that also puts you in a scarce energy. When you're like, oh, they must have enough money, so I'm not gonna add to their cause. What? It's not about just them, it's about the energy. You know what I'm saying? So always give. I don't care what it perceives to look like. Even if someone did hear that all the time, would it hurt you to tell them that? No. No, it would not. And it actually is really good for your heart. So don't be afraid to give it out. If you give where you feel lack, you will feel full. you will. And if it does, and consistency is key. I'm not saying go out and like drain your bank account every day for charities. And I'm not saying go out and hype everyone up but yourself, because a lot of times us people who do get in that giving state, we tend to start to overgive. And that's where I am, where I'm like, I kind of sometimes overgive and I forget about myself. And I'm focusing on, I always have to remind myself, because I grew up in an environment where I was literally told and trained to hate myself and to neglect myself and my emotional needs, my physical needs. I always have to put the spotlight back on myself to heal from that and to also just maintain a level of health and a good relationship with myself. But I also don't use that as an excuse to not give to other people. You know what I'm saying? So that's just like something I feel really passionate about and I really wanted to speak about today. So go out and tell people that you love them, how much they mean to you, what they've done for you in life. One thing that I will say that I had a hard time with was like, I always had people use what they did for me against me when I wasn't acting or doing how they wanted me to act or behave, or I wasn't doing certain things for them. They would always bring up what they've done for me, all the things that they were for me. I had really toxic people do that to me. If someone does that to you, you need to get away from that person as fast as possible, okay? You should never be having someone use the things that they gave freely against you. You know what I'm saying? You should never. That is not okay. That is abusive and manipulative. But I feel like a lot of us might have a hard time with this one, because when we acknowledge what people have done for us, it does put us in a vulnerable place. And vulnerable doesn't mean weak or bad, but it does put us in a place where we feel a little bit emotionally vulnerable. So when we tell someone, this is all you've done for me, or I love you, and like, I'm so grateful for all you've been for me, and like, this is like how I feel about you, it puts us in a place where people can actually abuse that. That has been something that has been a big fear of mine a lot of my life. And I find that when you get into a place where you feel so decisive and you trust yourself and you are confident in yourself, those are things you really need, especially if you dealt with abusive people in your life, to really build the trust and the confidence with yourself and build that strength and resilience with your decision making. So you know that if even when you are in a place of humility, that when you're giving it out, no one can manipulate you with that. That takes a lot of inner work, so have grace with yourself. Because for a while I could not acknowledge some people in my life because I was afraid they were going to use it against me. And I was going to be in a place again where I was vulnerable, I was weak, and I wouldn't be able to make a decision to get away from that. But now I am so confident in myself to really take care of myself that I feel no lack when I give to other people. And I can acknowledge how much someone's done for me and how I messed up my tan. Sorry. But I can acknowledge what people have been and done for me without fearing them using it against me, because I actually know how much I've done for myself, and I know that I never need someone that much that if they were to start using those things against me and being an emotional abusive person, that I wouldn't hesitate to leave and go take care of myself. So sometimes we're afraid to give things out and be vulnerable because we don't want people to weaponize it. So I totally get that. And that is just another healing journey that if you want me to make videos about that, ask me and I will make some videos on it, because I totally empathize with that. And it's something I have a lot of compassion for. But it is good, if it's hard for you to do, maybe just start with people that you have no attachment to, and start expressing gratitude and joy and just lifting them up. And then if you feel safe and you have enough safe people in your life, of course let them know how much they mean to you. Express your love, acknowledge them. People nowadays, I would say, work harder for acknowledgement and praise than they do for actual money or anything tangible. I think most people nowadays really just want to be empowered, encouraged, and acknowledged, but it's something that is really so scarce because a lot of us are living from our pain and we are traumatized and we're in a place of fear. So this is something, if you want to expand, if you want to feel healthier and more love in your life, it's something that you should prioritize and take seriously. If you have any questions about that ever, feel free to comment, let me know. Thank you guys so much if you made it to the end and listening to my video. I'm excited to be back on YouTube. I have a whole notebook of ideas. I have a whole note list in my phone. I have so much to share and talk about with you guys. I'm gonna start vlogs again soon. The tricky thing about being in Ohio is the weather and the seasons are really dramatic and rough. So when it's winter and just pretty much all of winter, I don't do vlogs because I don't do shit. I don't know what to tell you guys. I don't know what to show you guys. I feel like my life's not that interesting when I can't go explore, and I definitely don't like to leave my house for no reason. I don't care how badly I want to do something. If it's snowing and it's cold out, I will live without it. So it's starting to get springtime again, and I will be able to do more personal vlogs and just fun stuff on here. And I'm getting back into my creative groove. My old job took a lot of energy from me that was taking away from my creativity. So now that I'm building my sacral chakra back up and I'm feeling a lot more like myself, I have a lot more fun stuff to come. Of course, this is gonna be a channel about spirituality, self-love, and self-development and lifestyle. But part of lifestyle is my routines, my fitness, my nutrition, my cooking, my home life, my fashion, my hobbies, my adventures. I'm happy to share it all. I really love just creating and expressing and having fun. So if that's something you're interested in, stay tuned and I will continue to post this. I do talk about a lot of serious stuff on here too, because I've had quite a life and I've had a really crazy past. So I had to take a pause after that. Yeah, it's been a lot, but I'm just telling you right now, none of that is kept me down. Part of humility, okay, has gotten me through the ugliest parts of my past. There's a lot of things in my past people judge me for and make me feel like I'm less of a human being and I can't be normal or I don't deserve certain things. There's a lot of ways people have tried to weaponize my own past against me, but being humble and having humility actually frees you from that, because I acknowledge my flaws. I acknowledge where I was not in a place to make certain decisions, that I didn't know better, that there was just times where I had to do what I had to do to survive. And I think I did the best that I can, and even if it was the worst that I could, I'm still proud of myself. Even when things were the worst they can be, I still feel like I showed up and I just did the best that I could. And no one could use that as a weapon against me, because humility really de-weaponizes things. And also, if you have a tight relationship with yourself, it really puts you in a place where people can say hurtful things that sting a little bit. Words are very important and they're very impactful, but once you're a warrior, it might sting a little bit, but it will never implant itself in me the way that it used to. So humility has really helped me with my fresh start and continuing to give myself fresh starts no matter how my past looks to other people. And that's why I want to acknowledge the fact that I've been through some really serious things that should never be taken lightly and that I want to spread awareness about. But I'm telling you right now, those things will never and have never stolen my spirit, my soul, or my joy. And I will continue to live my funnest, best life regardless of what my past looks like. Universally, that's why goddessing universally exists, because we are goddessing. We are coming from our highest self. We're coming from the source, and we are pretty much personifying that higher self energy universally, without exception, regardless of what has happened in our life, no matter what our circumstances look like, and no matter what other people project on us and try to weigh us down with and bury us with. We are going to keep getting higher and having more fun. So I just wanted to say that, because I had this little flash of awareness where people might look at some of my stuff and be like, how is this girl like this? I promise you I am. I've been through so much that this part of my life is truly the best part so far. And I know that this is just the beginning. This really is just the beginning. I'm 25, I'll be 26 in May, and this truly is just the beginning for me. And I know I'm a little bit of a late bloomer compared to a lot of my peers when it comes to accomplishments, like family, where I am in my life, but I think 25 is so young. I think I'm so young that there's just so much time and potential that like I'm not, I would not wish to be in any other place or anyone else. I would not trade my past for anyone else. Like, and that's truly how I feel. So I'm excited to just really keep going on this journey and to keep, you know, just doing me, being me. I know this used to be Being Abby, the channel. I'm still a little on the fence. I'm like, I love my name being Goddessing Universally because that is my brand. But I also really loved it just being Abby because it is just me being me. So, but I could just be me anyway. I don't need the name to be that for me to be me. So yeah, thank you guys for watching though, and I'll see you in my next video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share with someone that you might feel values this video. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye. Fist bump. Boom.